Welcome to today's video. Today's video I'm going to be doing a 5 pros and 5 cons on the new Renault Zoe Z.E.50. This is the first right-hand drive model in the UK, and this will be the first right-hand drive model review in the UK. Damn. So the new Z.E.50, when it was brought over to the UK in left-hand drive to demo, show us what was coming, get us all excited about this new car, they said it was going to have all this spec, it looked fantastic, had this 3D badges on the front and on the front of the car and also on the steering wheel. Lovely 3D badge designs. They have gone. So this is a major con for me, that they showed you some of the stuff, they demoed some of the stuff, and it doesn't have it. So first of all, the 3D badges, they've all gone. Second of all, the cloth dash at the front, that's all gone. And the other last thing that they took away was they told you it was going to have emergency braking, so a sensor at the front for emergency braking. That will not be available until later on this year. It is coming, but it's not on the very first orders, which is slightly annoying. Now, as I just said, it does not have the automatic braking radar, which also means it doesn't have adaptive cruise control. Now, even when you're going to have that emergency braking feature added, which is coming, like I said, that is due to come, it will not have adaptive cruise control, which just seems absolutely ridiculous that Renault are fitting all the sensors, all the radars for adaptive cruise control, but will not be adding it as an option. Whether Renault in the future, they are looking, I do know that Renault are looking at charging for over-the-air updates in the future, very similar to the way Tesla do. Whether they do that in the future and add it as a feature that you can add, I don't know, but possibly, maybe they might do it. So I've been driving this now for about an hour. Down the bottom right, we have a little button that you press once and it says lane departure warning on. And if we press it again, we get lane keeping activated. And lane keeping activated allows you to stay in the lane. So the idea of it is, it reads the right-hand lane and the left-hand lane and keeps you centered. However, when I'm doing it now on this motorway at 52 miles an hour, it feels like a ping pong machine. You're going left to right and it doesn't hold you perfectly. So you do have to sometimes correct manually. So do not treat it like an autopilot. It is not an autopilot. It doesn't really hold the lane fantastic. It's more like a ping pong machine. And if the trajectory that it sent you from the last lane is there you go, is a bit too harsh, it will warn you to take control again. But it's not bad, but it's not great. And so to me, that's a bit of a con, that it's not as strong as it should be. Now, I'm currently parked up at a CCS charger with a Renault Zoe plugged into it. This is a 150 kilowatt charger. Like I said before, the Zoe can only pull a maximum of 50 kilowatts from this. Now, including in that is that this CCS is actually optional. It's not included with the Zoe. 22 kilowatt AC is standard, no matter if you add the 50 or not. So it does retain 22 kilowatt charging even when you add the CCS, which is a little bit of a pro, but the fact that you do have to pay for CCS on a GT line that costs this kind of money is ridiculous. I do think that Renault should have made this a standard feature. The charging socket on a Zoe is located here, and as previous Zoe owners will know, the best part about the Zoe is just press this button here. Oh, and it doesn't open the charge socket anymore. What it does is it turns the lights on. So what you have to do is you have to go all the way inside the car. Okay, once you're inside the car, what you do is you have to press this button here, and that will open this socket, which you then have to walk all the way back over here again for. And now you can plug your car in. But when you do charge your car, you can just press the unlock button and that will unlock the socket. Now, what I don't understand is why Renault didn't just make this a push open, push close fitting, where you could just push it like that, push it again and it would open, and then just lock with a key, like a petrol flap does. The other major issue that Renault have forgotten to do with the key is, you'll notice on the key, there is no longer a preheat button. So you can't just press a button to heat your car. What you have to do, you have to use their app. And if you've got no signal, or the car's not got no signal, you won't be able to preheat your car. You'll be able to preheat it by presetting inside the car, but you can no longer do it on your app. Now, this has another disadvantage, which is when you're charging on here and you want some heat, you'll either have to preheat the car by the app or using the inside dash, because you can't preheat on the key, and if you try and turn the ignition on, it will stop your charge. So one of the major pros on the new Renault Zoe Z.E.50 is the build quality is improved, and that has resulted in some better handling, and also the 135 brake horsepower option means that you can really have some fun. And before we started filming, I scared the hell out of Oliver, and we're going to do the same now, Oliver, all over again. Are you ready for this? So we're just going to go back down that lovely little B road with all those horrible turnings on. Nice giveaway there off that man. So yeah, you can really stick it to the corners like, oh, look at that. You couldn't do that with the old Zoe. So the handling on this is severely improved. I think it's one of the major improvements. They must have done something to the suspension or the arms, but they definitely hold a lot better. And that 135 brake horsepower option, it makes a hell of a lot of difference between the 110. So if you are considering getting the Zoe and you are thinking of the 135 option, then look at the GT line version, because the GT line version actually works out a little bit better value for money than the Ioniq, spec'd up to a GT line with CCS and all the extras. Now, one of my favourite features that the new Renault Zoe does have is the fact that the whole new interior design, for me, is the best in its class. So I think it beats the Peugeot, I think it beats the VW ID, which I've seen in Frankfurt, if you want to see that video top right. I just think out of all the classes this fits in, the price segment this fits in, the design of this lovely centre touchscreen, the design of the centre console, the switches, the buttons, the feel, I do think that Renault have made this one of the best. Now, as I've mentioned before, this is a 52 kilowatt battery, which now means in the winter you're going to get over 200-mile range, which is a massive plus. But the WLTP on this is 242. I think that you could actually overachieve that and get near 250 on it. So it's a massive improvement with this newer battery size. And to me, having 200 miles minimum in the winter is a must now on an electric car. Another major improvement on the new ZE50 is the audio system. Now, it does a couple of things. First of all, you've got Android Auto like the old R-Link in the ZE40, but you've also got Apple CarPlay. Now, if you don't know what these two things are, they allow you to mirror your phone screen onto the sat-nav here, so you can have on here the full sat-nav screen as Waze Maps, Google Maps, Apple Maps, whatever mapping system you prefer to use, you can have it on full screen. You can use all your native apps and use your native phone systems like OK Google and Hello Siri and stuff like that. Now, the other major improvement I've noticed on this is the audio system. The sound, the speakers in it do sound better. Now, I don't think from knocking on the doors and having a listen that they've made any audio improvements in the doors. I don't think there's any extra sound deadening, but the speakers do sound better, and it definitely does sound quieter in the cab. So this is a major pro, this upgrade. So well done, Renault, on that. The last pro, before I finish the pros and cons, but before I even mention it, I've spent the whole day with this car, and I will tell you now that there's a reason why the Renault Zoe is one of my favourite electric cars and will always remain it, because every time they bring a new one of these out, it gets better in every single way. And this Pro is one of the main things they've made better. It's got a 5-year warranty, 100,000 mile warranty on the car. The battery's 8 years, but the car itself now is 5 years. And that is why the Renault Zoe will remain my favourite car, because Renault are constantly improving this car, making it one of the best. Thank you very much for watching this week's video. Please don't forget to click subscribe, don't forget to click the Patreon link, don't forget to check out my other videos, and I'll see you again next week. Goodbye.